Sarenia Freincle is a small business owner and a nonprofit executive director who wants to bring her experience to Goose Creek City Council to serve the constituents of the city. I speak exclusively with Sarenia for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Sarenia Freincle, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know that you are a mom, you are a small business owner, an experienced professional in the corporate world, and a nonprofit executive director. And now you are setting your sights on becoming the next councilwoman for Goose Creek City Council to serve the constituents there. Tell me why this, why now?
Well, I love Goose Creek. When I was younger, my mother, they always instilled in us politics, like to know what's going on. We watched all the debates growing up, like when, so that was part of me growing up. I started here thinking about how I wanted to get involved with the community. So the first thing I did, I was my HOA president for my community. And then I joined the Zoning Board of Appeals for Goose Creek. And I wanted to have a bigger impact. I couldn't do it in that space. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to run for city council because I know I wanted to have a voice and I wanted to have a bigger impact. So that's how that started.
And where is the voice for the people of Goose Creek right now in your mind?
I feel like it's there. It can be stronger. I feel like all communities need to be represented. And they need to be listened to, and they actually need to be engaged. So I really don't see a lot of that. I see a little bit, but not enough. We can definitely do more.
Yes, ma'am. And you say that you are very proud to support and push for change throughout the community according to your website. You also said this quote, as a small business owner herself, ensuring good working relationships with industries, willing to bring better paying jobs to our city, while being mindful as we grow and develop into the best place and to live in the low country. How many small businesses are there right now in the city of Goose Creek?
There's a lot. There could be more. I would say in the last 3 years, it's grown. It's definitely grown. I don't know the exact number, but it has grown. Because I'm a business owner, I also go to other businesses because how do you grow unless people are going to your business and spending money? And it stays within the community, so that's a big part of it. There's a lot, I talk to business owners all the time, so a lot of them want to come to Goose Creek, and that's important in a lot of minority businesses. And, there's a space for them here.
Where is that space for minority business? That's something I want to ask you about.
So the space, it can be restaurants, it can be retail. It can be, I'm thinking of like gyms. It can be, they can start with daycares. There's a need for daycares because we have a large amount of huge businesses and they shift work, right? So if you go to work at 11 from 11 to 7 and you don't have a babysitter, how is that really going to work? So if we can have more daycares come into the area that it may be 24 hours, where you have the flexibility for these big businesses to come in and help the economy. And also you have people who could actually work those jobs and have secure daycare.
And I know, yes, ma'am, and I know Miss Belinda is there in Goose Creek with the Turning Page bookstore. But how many other minority businesses are there in Goose Creek right now?
Right now, so we have Chill and Grill. We have Gail's Soul Food.
Yes.
I think we have some salons inside Cirque Salon Studios.
Okay.
So that's a few. That's off the top of my head. That's the ones I can think about right now. And I've gone to all of them.
Right.
So, yes.
And then, Ms. Sarenia, let me ask you this. How then do you actually help those local businesses boost their competitiveness among those other businesses that are actually trying to come into the city of Goose Creek?
Well, that goes with marketing. Because if people don't know you're there, they're not gonna come to your place of business. So I believe that having them inside of, like, when Goose Creek does their email blast to their constituents, right, to the residents, and let them know what's going on. When you go to those businesses, you actually tag them on social media. Everyone's on social media. And that's how people learn about different businesses. So I've been seeing an uptick of people actually tagging businesses. I try to do that myself if I can remember to do it, but because I'm on social media. And also, I feel like when people come, they Google, right? So teaching some of these businesses who may not actually come up on Google on the first page, teaching them how to get there. And I think education is a big part of that. So when I talk to people, I'm like, oh, I was looking you up, and I just give free information. I give information all the time. Because I know if you Google me, I come up on the first page. I've been in business over 6 years, and I know the power of Google. So that's definitely a way to do it.
And Ms. Sarenia, let me ask you this. It's a simplistic question, actually, but what is going on right now in Goose Creek? What do the constituents need right now?
Well, what they need someone that is a voice for them, right? So, affordable housing, attainable housing. I would say more attainable housing. Housing is a problem, of course, everywhere, right? It's expensive. So if you are working just a regular job and you are making minimum wage, you cannot pay $1,500, $1,600 a month for a 2-bedroom. You can't pay $1,200, especially if you have children. So having attainable housing and making that a priority so people can actually afford to live and to feed their kids and their family is important. So that's the main thing. You need a roof over your head.
And I want to get to the housing in depth in just a second. But let me ask you, where are the current jobs right now in the city of Goose Creek?
So we have the aluminum factory. That is a very good, if you can get in there. And I remember when they were opening up the other half, they started off at $90,000, and all you needed was a high school diploma. So that is a good thing. What we're trying to do is bring in more, not just warehouses, but actually making something. So, we don't have a lot of space, but we want to bring in some companies that actually they produce what they make here. So we have people to come in and produce that. There's more of, like, we have Walmart, we have the grocery stores, we have Aldi's, we have Lidl. They pay good. They pay okay. But again, we need higher paying jobs coming into this city, which is not, it's smaller jobs, but we need something that has a bigger impact, like the aluminum factory.
And let me ask you this. How many more jobs will the city of Goose Creek need in the next 5 to 10 years?
So our population right now is at almost 50,000. So a lot of people work outside of the city, right? Goose Creek was a bed city. Like, we just lived here and we went outside to work. So I would think that we would need at least 20,000 jobs within the next 5 years.
Yes. And how will you, if elected to city council, Ms. Sarenia, help the city create a business preservation alliance?
So that comes with collaboration. So collaboration with the Charleston Metro Chamber, right? Because they have arms everywhere. So if you collab with them, that way you can get the information of who is looking at the area and where they want to, if they want to come here, and you can actually go and approach them and say, hey, come to Goose Creek. This is what we offer. This is what our population looks like. And we would love to have you come here. But in that effect, coming here, you cannot give, I don't feel like giving, you have to give incentives, but not incentives to the detriment of the city and the citizens, right? You can't make it so that there's no taxes for 10, 15, 20 years when you have to put the taxes onto the citizens. I think it's important to have a balance. You have a balance. You bring these companies into the city, and then you make it so that people can work, they can live, and they can also play here. They can spend their money in the city. They're making the money in the city, and it stays in the city, and that's important for growth, because we're going to grow regardless. No, people are not stopping from moving here.
They love Goose Creek. So what ideal incentives would help with that balance?
I would say helping maintain parks, helping maintain the infrastructure, right? Um, we are talking about the LCRT, right? That's coming.
Right.
Having us be a part of that. We need to be a part of that because that is going to help with congestion. It'll help with congestion if people can actually jump on and save money on gas and jump on the trail. That'll make it a lot easier. So I feel like helping with the maintenance of the city, keeping it so that it's safe, it's affordable. They're involved with the community, with programs. We have a wonderful rec department. We have sports for children. There's a lot of activities. That's one of the great things that I love about Goose Creek. Unfortunately, my son is 23, so he's not in that realm. But for people with young families, which is the bulk of the people moving to the city, it's a really good thing. I had that when I was growing up. It makes for better for kids to grow up and be exposed to different people, different experiences. So yeah.
Now, when you talk about obviously the low country rapid transit right there that they want to develop from Somerville to here at the peninsula,
Mm-hmm.
what is the state right now on public transportation in Goose Creek? I know everybody there has to have a car to, basically get around Goose Creek. What is the status on that?
I don't see many buses here. So I really don't know. I haven't dived into that as far as the transportation because everyone has cars.
Right.
You have to have a car here.
Sure.
This was not like Somerville's not as dense. So we really didn't have a transit system like that. And people were moving, going to Monk's Corner, and not really Goose Creek. So now that the growth has just exploded, that has to be considered. It has to be considered. So the Low Country Rapid Transit would be a huge help to that.
And where exactly should they put a bus stop in that particular spot as Goose Creek?
I had this question before, and I feel like you know what a jitney bus is? It's like the shuttles that they have at the airport, right? That's a jitney bus. Up north, that's a regular thing. People take jitney buses, right? So I feel like we can have it. It's going to take some maneuvering, but I would think on the corner of 52 and St. James and Red Bank, right? But to get the people that live on the outskirts of that area, that's where the jitney buses come in. It's a smaller bus and can go through neighborhoods. It can go to smaller streets because it doesn't need that big angle to turn, right? So if you have those that are going down main streets like Red Bank, like Liberty Hall, let's see, some other streets, main streets like Old Monk's Corner Road, that, and bringing people to that stop to jump onto the transit, that would make it so much easier. Then you don't have to worry about these huge buses trying to get in where these roads are very narrow. So that'll be a way to make it so that everyone has access to it.
And how much money do you think the city of Goose Creek will contribute to this?
I honestly don't know. I know that we are very excited about it and we want to be included. I know that it's going from the peninsula onto University. Yeah. So it's not, but they're still in the early stages of it. So I would definitely be an advocate for it to come here because we need it. We need it.
And you talked earlier about obviously the growth in the population. Where exactly is the population change right now in the city of Goose Creek?
The population change. So there's a lot of young professionals moving here, and a lot of young families. The bulk of people moving are young families because of all of the things we have for young children. So that's a bulk. We have an aging community, of course, and they have access. They've been here. They've been here for a long time, but the bulk are young professionals. So I would say between the ages of 34 to 45.
Okay.
That are moving.
Okay, cool. My age demographic there.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me ask you this. What are the demographic trends that you see right now for the city in the next 5 to 10 years?
I see a lot of minorities moving to the city. I see a lot of minorities move to the city because it's Goose Creek right now is affordable. If you compare it to the other cities, right? It's really affordable. It's affordable for young people who are maybe young adults, I would say in the range of 30, 25, 30. They can afford to buy a townhome here right now. Not everyone wants a single family home. Not everyone wants to do yard work. If you move into a townhome, you have your HOA that takes care of that. I see a lot of people who like to be in Charleston but don't want to live exactly in the city of Charleston. So they don't mind traveling to Charleston, but they want to live in a smaller, more of a family-orientated city. So when you come to Goose Creek is smaller. We're big, but it's a smaller city compared to Somerville, North Charleston. But we have so many things when it comes to, you can go to the gym here, you can shop here, you can actually work here, and it's centered. So it's a great place to get everywhere because we're touching Somerville, we're touching Moncks Corner, we're touching North Charleston. So that's really like the and not have to deal with the traffic so much, because our traffic pattern, I think, is the best in the Tri-County area.
Do you see that changing?
I don't see that changing. I see that they are very important because we have the naval base, right? So we have to stay on top of that. That's one of the reasons why it's probably the way that it is. You'll see a lot of cars, but you're always moving.
Okay.
I've been some places in the Tri-County area where you'll sit for 30 minutes, but that doesn't happen here, even with accidents. So, yeah.
And you talked earlier about this, and I should have asked you this earlier, but what are the income characteristics that is, do you see for Goose Creek?
The income characteristics, I would say the median income is around $80,000 for the residents that live here. So that's been, they did some research on the residents of Goose Creek. So the median income, I would say, for families now, this is not single people, so it's around $80,000. Now for single people, it goes between, I would say, around $50,000 to $68,000 for single people. But again, they're able to live here. They're able to pay their bills. They're able to afford to live here. So it works out. Of course, increase in income makes it, better living quality. And hopefully that will go up, with some incentives that we can bring bigger companies here. But yeah, that's around the median income. I would say between $65,000 to $80,000.
And let me ask you another simplistic question. What is the quality of life right now in the city of Goose Creek?
I think it's good. I think it's good. I live here, right? So I've lived in Somerville for 9.5 years, and I've been here for 3.5. And the quality of life it's good. You have a lot of open areas. You have a lot of things that you need for daily living. Like you have grocery stores, you have parks, you have, you can actually walk in your neighborhood and exercise. So I believe that the quality of life is a lot better than some other places that may, be around us. And it's just because we have that small town feel. So that helps.
So, Ms. Sarenia, let me ask you this. What's more important for the city of Goose Creek? Building new homes in commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, and better utilizing the existing homes?
Let me think about that. Well, we can't stop building. That's going to be impossible because of the amount of people that are coming. They say 3 people move here a day. We can rehab, but I don't see where we have a lot of space to rehab because everyone's living here, they're staying, right? So we have to find spaces where we can balance it. I want us to have a mix of housing. So condos, townhomes, duplexes, commercial mixed housing. So you have commercial on the bottom, you have apartments or condos on the top. That way you can attract people who maybe work, making minimum wage, can still afford to purchase. That's attainable. I feel like when we think of housing, we think of people, two parent household, like a wife and a husband and children. That is not our reality. There's single people, there's divorced people, there's widowed people who don't have the amount of money that they make is vast. When the gap. So there's people who maybe make 30,000, 40,000, and there's people who make 100 and something thousand. Attainable means that you have housing for all of those people with wherever they are when it comes to their salary, and no one is locked out just because they decided that they want to stay in maybe in a restaurant field. They want to work at McDonald's, and they made a career out of it because they like what they do. There's a job for everyone. So all of those people need to be able to have housing that's affordable for them, not just for people who make over a certain amount. So I feel that would definitely help. So that's where the building comes in, because we haven't had a lot of building. In the last 40 years, we had the same mayor for 40 years here. So Beeb took over in the last 3 years,
right.
And that's been the jump in building. But this is what people don't understand. Some of the stuff that's being built now was already planned 20 years ago.
Okay.
So we really don't have that much control over that. But going forward, mixed use housing with commercial, that would benefit so many people, because some people want to buy, but they just don't see it as an option because of how much they make, and that shouldn't be the case.
And how many of those people actually want to buy right now in Goose Creek?
I talk to people all the time, and a lot of people they're like, oh, well, I need to get this done. They really don't understand what it takes to actually purchase a home until they're educated. So when they find out, listen, you can go through this program, there's ways of getting into a home, because most people, if you think about it, their rent is higher than what their mortgage would be. And there are definitely programs out there that will help them purchase. So until they understand that they do, but they don't see it as being attainable until they're educated. So that's what I do. I talk to people when I ask them,
And where exactly is the faith for attainable housing in Goose Creek?
I would say when it comes to townhomes, because they're smaller. So you don't have a lot of, you don't need acres of land in one single family home. So I think them building townhomes makes it so that there's options. So people don't have options. When you go someplace else and there's neighborhoods being built, there's neighborhoods of single family homes that are 500,000. A townhome you can get under 200, 180. If you can, I feel like if you can afford to pay $1,200 rent and you can pay that every month, and you've been in your apartment for 3 years, you can afford to pay a mortgage, because you're going to pay less than that. So, yeah.
And with Sarenia, where in the city do you also identify and develop those unique characteristics when it comes to residential, commercial, and mixed use?
I see it in Carnes, the Carnes area, Carnes Crossroads.
Sure.
That is brand new. It's being built up. That's the perfect space to do that, because when you have mixed use housing and commercial, you also have you have diversity, right? So you have people from different ethnic backgrounds. You have different people from different areas of the country. So that makes a stronger city when you have diversity. So when you have people who make different money, but they can also afford to live there, it makes it stronger. It makes the city stronger. It makes the neighborhood stronger. Our economy stronger. So you bring in a little bit of everybody when you're able to do that. So Carnes will be a good place. They have some parts they're building on Liberty Hall. They're building on back around there. So that's another place where they can do it. But they're also rehabbing Red Bank Road. So we'll see what they come up with that. Now, I don't know all the things that are happening because I'm not on council, but yeah, from what I've read and what I've been privy to when I've gone to some of the meetings. Yeah.
Now, you speak of the economy. Let me ask you, what is the city's current tax base?
The city's current tax base it's about 8%.
And what is the regional income for that area?
Regional income. I'm not, let me see. I'm
Are you
trying to
thinking?
go back through the numbers.
Oh, yes.
I went to the budget meeting. I'm trying to think of it because there's been so much information. I would say it's probably 45,000. I would say 45,000 for the region. Now it may be higher, but I'm trying to just think that might be it. I'm not really sure.
Now, how many homes in the city of Goose Creek have actually been built at a fairly consistent rate?
Hmm. Well, Carnes is growing very fast.
Mm.
They have townhomes that they're probably done now, but so the townhomes that are off on Montrose down the street from me.
Yeah.
So, because I know a couple of people who've purchased within the last couple of years over there. So I would say it's been consistent.
Mm.
It's been consistent. They've been breaking ground all over the city
Wow. So,
and clearing out things. Yeah.
wow. So, oh yeah, 10 minutes left. But what's the median home price right now in the city of Goose Creek?
The median home price is around, I would say 275, 350.
Okay.
That's
So,
for a single family home.
home. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. And so, when it comes to the local economy, where in Goose Creek have you identified the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within the local economy?
Okay, so the strengths I would say is bringing in small businesses.
Mm.
Small businesses run the country, right? They are the blood that runs through the veins for the country. Those are the strengths. Supporting small businesses, having those, they have funds that will help small businesses come into the city. They have programs for that. Some of the weaknesses I would say would be engaging our Brazilian, our Black, and our Latin community. I believe that we need to engage them more, have them more involved in the city and what's happening, and making them feel comfortable with coming into the space, right? Because people stay away because they just don't want to rock the boat. But the whole thing is that for you to be considered, you have to be in the space. You have to be in the room. That makes a difference. People want to hear your voice, and a lot of people are on the fence about that because they're not sure where they fit in. So I think that is one of the weaknesses. We can do better at that. What was the other? You said strengths,
Yes.
weaknesses,
Weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
opportunities. Okay, opportunities would be more diversity.
Hmm.
We need more diversity in every aspect of the city. I feel like when you grow up, I grew up north, right? So I've been around every ethnic group you can think of. That was normal to me. So when I moved here, my mother's from here, so my family is from South Carolina. It was very different. And I don't meet a stranger. I talk to everyone. Anyone who has ever met me was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known her forever. But that's the way I grew up. I like engaging people, and I think the opportunity would be to just involve people, make it so that everyone feels like they're part of the final say. They don't just know about it when they've made the decision and it's happening. They know from the beginning. And I think we need to do a better job at engaging our citizens, like literally engaging them, talking to them, going to where they are, because they're not coming to us. We have to go to where they are. And that's important.
And this might be a silly question, but where do you all go to actually have this conversation with them?
I say people have events all the time. They have things going on all the time. It just takes a Google search. It takes going on social media. There's always something. I'm engaged. I find out everything from social media,
Okay.
because people post, because that's how they reach the masses, right? So I know if they're having say like a festival, or the farmers market is happening. Like there's people who have vegetables, they sell it in front of a store, but they can actually have a spot at the farmer's market and reach more people, but they don't know that because you have to go out and talk to them and let them know, hey, this is what you have to do. Just do this, this, and this. And you can probably make more money that will then help your family. You know, so I think we just need to do a better job at finding out those spaces and keep it so that it's continuous. It's not just for you to say it just because it's like it's Spanish Heritage Month, right now. You don't just do it when we're recognizing the month. You do it on a consistent basis, and that's how you keep people engaged, and that's the opportunity I feel like we can do much better.
And I know that you've been knocking on doors a lot as you are running for city council. What exactly are people telling you that the city needs to do more of?
They really, honestly, they want to see more engagement with their communities. They want to see more engagement. And what I say to them is that, you know, we all want to see more engagement. We want to see engagement on both ends, though. Both ends. So if I'm telling you this is happening, I need you to show up. I want you to show up. I want you to understand what's going on, so then you can go back and you can tell everyone. Then you can bring more people the next time that something's happening. They do want to see. I honestly feel like they do want to see that their taxes don't go up. They want to know about that. They want to make sure that they can live as they're aging, because I talk to a lot of seniors. As they're aging, they want to still be able to afford to live in their home and their taxes not out because they're on a fixed income. So those are a couple of the things. Young people, I'm trying to engage them more because I want them to be involved with voting, with knowing what's going on in the city. My son is 23. My son has been voting since he's been legal to vote. That's important to me. That was one of the things. It was a huge to-do when he was able to vote the first time he voted. A lot of young people I talk to, they don't want to vote because they figure it doesn't affect them. So I just want to get people more engaged. Education is a big thing for me, to educate. And I tell people college isn't for everyone, and that's okay. But I want people to understand, whether you graduated from high school, you went to college, you know, you have a voice and you should use your voice. You definitely need to use your voice. So, wanting to see what's in it for them, you know, when it comes to young people, taxes and affordability for older people and for people my age. I'm 47. You know, I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere. So I want to make sure that the Goose Creek that I see us going in the direction is going in that direction, where people are happy, people can afford to live, it's safe, they can afford to buy food, and they can they can just be happy. You know, you have enough things going on in the outside world. You want to be able to come home and be safe, you know?
And you talk about the senior population and making sure they stay within the city limits.
Yeah.
Where is that space to build senior housing in Goose Creek?
That is one of the things I'm trying to find out, because that is one of the things we don't have. We don't have. They're in Somerville, they're in Charleston, but I don't see any place here. And if it's here, I don't know that it's here. So I have been researching. We're looking into that because I want to find out where that is, because you need that. Some people cannot live on their own, and if they don't have family around, because if people have moved up north and they haven't moved back, because most of us move up north and then move back, right? So where's the support for that aging population? So that's one of the things that I'm looking into now.
Well, you know, with the 2 minutes that I have remaining, let me ask you this: How do you develop an institutional framework for supporting local and regional economic development initiatives?
I would always say collaboration and connecting with people that are doing what you want to do in the area that you want to do it. So I just went to Boston. I was in Boston for 3 days. And the amount of information, I have probably 8 pages of notes of how they've done a lot of good. They still have a lot of work to do, but they've done a lot of good. So what I took from that was connecting, community, and collaboration. That's important because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to find something that works and apply it to where you are. Find a way to apply it here. So that with the economic development here, we have a great, Matt Brady is the economic development director. He has done a great job at bringing things to Goose Creek, and he just needs some help. He just needs a little bit more help. So I feel like that is a way of finding what works in other cities and bringing it here so that we can apply it here. I think that's a great thing, especially when you find good stuff, you know?
And I had so many more questions for you, but Zoom is telling me less than a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. But Ms. Sarenia Freincle, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much. And I love it. I loved it. It was great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.